understand the root of anger, let us talk about anger. The kind that rises so quickly, it feels like someone has pressed a switch inside you, the kind that takes over before you even have time to think. We all know that feeling. Someone says something rude. A colleague disrespects your hard work. A stranger online leaves a hateful comment. And suddenly your heart is racing, your thoughts are on fire, and your peace is gone. But here's the question we rarely stop to ask ourselves: where is this anger really coming from? Because anger doesn't start outside, it starts inside us. The words, the actions, the situations, these are only the sparks. The fire is already waiting in our minds. Think about it. If someone you barely know insults you, you might get annoyed, but you can move on quickly. Yet if someone close to you says the same thing, it hurts 10 times more. Why? Because your expectation of them is higher. You expected them to support you, to understand you, to treat you better. When they don't, it shakes something deep inside. That is the first truth about anger. It is often born from our expectations of people and the world around us. We expect fairness, kindness, respect, understanding. And when reality doesn't meet those expectations, anger fills the gap between what we wanted and what we got. But there's more. Sometimes anger comes from ego, that inner voice telling you that you must always be right, that people should see things your way, that your opinion should be respected above all else. When someone challenges that ego, when they dismiss your ideas or criticize your work, it feels like they are attacking your very worth. And because none of us like feeling small or powerless, we respond with anger to protect our pride. Then there is the anger that comes from frustration and helplessness. Have you ever noticed how people stuck in traffic often yell at drivers who can't even hear them? They're not angry because someone personally insulted them. They're angry because they feel trapped, powerless to change the situation. When we feel out of control, whether it's in traffic, in our jobs, or in life itself, anger gives us the illusion of power, like we are doing something about it. But in reality, it doesn't solve the problem. And perhaps the most hidden source of anger is pain from the past. Sometimes we carry wounds from childhood, from betrayal, from failures we haven't forgiven ourselves for. Then someone says something small, something they didn't even mean deeply, and it touches that old wound like pressing on a bruise. The reaction looks like anger, but behind it is pain we haven't healed. When you begin to see these roots clearly, something shifts inside you. You realize anger is rarely about the person in front of you. It's about what's happening inside you. Your expectations, your pride, your fears, your pain, your need for control. This is why two people can face the same insult, the same situation, and respond completely differently. One explodes with rage. The other stays calm, even smiles and moves on. The difference isn't the situation. The difference is what's happening inside their minds and hearts. Understanding this truth doesn't mean you will never feel anger again. Feelings will come. They are human. But when you know the real reasons behind your anger, you stop being controlled by it. You start seeing it like a signal, a teacher, pointing you towards something inside you that needs attention. Whether it's letting go of unrealistic expectations, healing old wounds, or learning to release what you cannot control. Accept people as they are, one of the hardest lessons in life, and one that takes many people years to learn, is this: you cannot change people. No matter how much you wish someone would be kinder, more understanding, more respectful, more supportive, at the end of the day, they are who they are, shaped by their own experiences, beliefs, and struggles. Yet most of us spend so much energy being angry, hurt, or disappointed because people do not behave the way we expect. We want our friends to always stand by us, our family to always understand us, our coworkers to always respect us, strangers to always be polite, and the world to always be fair. When they are not, we feel betrayed, as if life itself has broken a promise to us. But the truth is, life never promised you that people will meet your expectations. That promise only existed in your mind. Think about this for a moment. How often do we let someone's words or behavior ruin our entire day? Someone cuts you off in traffic, and suddenly you are angry all morning. A coworker criticizes you, and you carry that bitterness home like heavy luggage. A family member says something hurtful, and you replay it in your head over and over, feeling the pain grow stronger each time. But here is the real question: who gave them that much power over your peace? Because when you let someone else's behavior control your emotions, you hand over the keys to your happiness, and you let them drive. The secret to emotional freedom is to accept people exactly as they are, not as you wish they would be. Because people will always act according to their nature, not your expectations. The rude person on the street, they might have grown up in chaos. The coworker who takes credit for your work, maybe they are deeply insecure inside. The friend who disappointed you, perhaps they are carrying battles you know nothing about. When you begin to see people as human beings with their own wounds, fears, and blind spots, you stop taking everything so personally. You realize their behavior says more about them than it does about you. And acceptance does not mean approval. It does not mean you agree with their actions or allow people to mistreat you. It simply means you stop wasting energy wishing they were different. Because wishing for someone else to change when they are not ready or willing is like trying to hold back the ocean with your hands. It is exhausting and it never works. Instead, you learn to set boundaries where needed, walk away when necessary, and protect your peace without needing to fix anyone else. The truth is, people change only when they want to, when life teaches them lessons that open their eyes, not when you argue or fight with them to be different. So why keep hurting yourself by demanding the impossible? Imagine how much lighter life feels when you stop carrying the burden of trying to control other people's attitudes and actions. Imagine waking up knowing that no matter what anyone says or does, you will not let it steal your calm. That is the power of acceptance. It frees you from the emotional chains of other people's behavior and gives you back control over your own happiness. Shift perspective. One of the most powerful things you can ever learn in life is this simple truth. The way you see a situation often matters more than the situation itself. Two people can face the same challenge, hear the same criticism, or experience the same disappointment. Yet one walks away bitter and angry while the other walks away wiser and stronger. What makes the difference? It is not luck, it is not destiny, it is perspective. The ability to choose how you interpret what happens to you, instead of letting events control your emotions. Think about the time someone criticized you. Maybe they said you were not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough. In that moment, you had a choice, even if you didn't realize it. You could take their words as a personal attack, replay them in your mind for days, feel smaller and weaker with each passing hour. Or you could step back, look at it differently, and ask yourself, is there any truth here? Is there something I can learn? Because sometimes even harsh words carry a seed of truth hidden inside them. And if you can swallow your pride long enough to see it, you can turn that criticism into a tool for growth instead of a weapon that wounds you. And what about the times when there was no truth at all in what they said? When the criticism came from jealousy, ignorance, or malice? That is where perspective becomes even more powerful, because then you realize their words are not about you at all. They are about them. Their fears, their insecurities, their limited view of the world. When someone says you can't do something, often what they really mean is they can't imagine doing it themselves. So why let their limited vision define your future? Why give their smallness the power to shrink your dreams? Shifting perspective is also about learning to see the bigger picture. When something goes wrong, a job rejection, a failed project, a broken relationship, our first reaction is often anger or frustration. We tell ourselves life is unfair, that we have been wrong. But months later, when we look back, how many times do we realize that what felt like the end was actually the beginning of something better? That rejection pushed you toward a better opportunity. That failure taught you skills you never would have learned otherwise. That disappointment revealed the truth about people you trusted too much. Life has a way of rearranging things for our growth, but in the moment, all we see is the pain because we haven't learned to look through the eyes of perspective. And there is another layer to this. When someone attacks you with words, you can either see it as an insult or as free emotional training. Every time you stay calm when others expect you to explode, every time you choose to think before reacting, you are becoming stronger inside. You are building a kind of emotional armor that life itself cannot break easily. This is not about pretending to be unaffected. It is about truly seeing that your worth, your peace, your dreams do not have to be at the mercy of other people's behavior. Because here's the thing, the world will never run out of challenges, critics, or disappointments. What you can run out of, if you are not careful, is peace of mind. Perspective is what protects it. It is what turns problems into lessons, critics into teachers, setbacks into stepping stones. And once you master it, you carry a kind of calm confidence that no insult, no failure, no unfairness can take away from you. Train emotional discipline. There is a powerful truth about emotions that most people never realize until it is too late. The moment you lose control of your emotions, you hand your power to someone else. Think about it. When someone insults you and you explode in anger, they are not the ones suffering. You are. Your heart beats faster, your mind fills with chaos, your energy drains away, and yet the other person walks away unchanged. This is why emotional discipline is not just a skill, it is a form of strength, a kind of inner power that keeps you in control, no matter what storms rage around you. But emotional discipline is not something you can switch on overnight. It is like building a muscle. Just as your body needs training to grow stronger, your emotions need practice to stay calm under pressure. And the first step in this training is learning to pause before you react. Most people live on emotional autopilot. Someone shouts, they shout back. Someone criticizes, they immediately feel hurt. Someone disagrees, they instantly argue. But when you learn to pause, just for a few seconds, you create space between what happened and how you respond. And in that space lies your power. Because in that moment, you can choose not to let anger take control. Some people think staying calm makes you weak, as if controlling your emotions means letting others win. But the opposite is true. Anyone can explode in anger. That takes no skill, no strength. It is the easiest thing in the world to yell, to curse, to lash out. But to stay calm when everything inside you wants to scream, that is real strength. It means you refuse to let others decide how you feel. It means you are no longer a puppet of your emotions, but the master of them. One practical way to train emotional discipline is to rehearse calmness in small situations. For example, when someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of yelling or getting frustrated, try taking a slow, deep breath and telling yourself, I will not let this moment control my day. When a coworker makes a sarcastic remark, instead of firing back immediately, smile and choose silence. At first, this will feel unnatural because anger wants to react instantly. But the more you practice, the stronger your self-control becomes, until one day, what used to make you explode will barely move you. Another powerful habit is to name your emotions instead of acting on them immediately. When you feel anger rising, silently tell yourself, this is anger, this is frustration, this is disappointment. It may sound simple, but putting a label on your feelings helps you step back and see them clearly instead of being swept away by them. Because emotions are like waves. If you fight the wave, you get knocked down, but if you watch it, if you wait, it passes. And here is the truth most people never hear. Emotional discipline is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It is about channeling them wisely. Anger can destroy, but it can also be turned into determination. Frustration can break you, but it can also push you to find better solutions. The difference lies in whether you control the emotion or the emotion controls you. Training your emotional discipline is like sharpening a sword. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you choose calmness over chaos, every time you turn emotion into thoughtful action, you are strengthening a skill that will serve you in every area of life, your relationships, your career, your personal happiness. Because when you control your emotions, you control your future. Focus on what you can control. One of the biggest sources of anger and frustration in life comes from pouring our energy into things we have absolutely no power to change. We get angry at the weather for ruining our plans, at the traffic for making us late, at the economy for going down, at people for saying what they say or doing what they do. But here is the hard truth. No matter how much you shout at the clouds, the storm will not stop. No matter how much you curse the traffic, the cars will not disappear. No matter how much you argue with someone's opinion, they may never agree with you. Yet we waste hours, days, sometimes even years of our lives fighting battles we cannot win, battles that were never ours to fight in the first place. The key to protecting your peace of mind is learning the simple but powerful discipline of focusing only on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. Because when you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you suddenly free up all that emotional energy to work on the things that truly matter, the things that can actually change your life. Think about it. You cannot control what people say about you, but you can control the kind of person you become. You cannot control whether someone else believes in your dreams, but you can control how hard you work for them. You cannot control the obstacles life throws your way, but you can control whether you give up or keep moving forward. When you shift your focus from the outside world to your own actions, choices, and attitude, you take back your power. Because anger often comes from feeling helpless, and nothing makes you feel more helpless than trying to change things you have no power over. Let's be honest. Some people will always talk. Some will always criticize. Some will never understand you, no matter how clearly you explain yourself. If your happiness depends on them changing, you will be miserable for the rest of your life. But if your peace depends on your own response, then no one can take it away from you. It is like standing in the middle of a storm. You cannot stop the wind from blowing, but you can build a shelter that keeps you safe inside. And here is the thing, when you stop wasting energy on things outside your control, you have so much more strength for the things you can change. Instead of being angry that people doubt you, you use that energy to sharpen your skills until your success speaks louder than their words. Instead of being bitter about the economy, you use that time to learn new ways to create opportunities for yourself. Instead of arguing endlessly with people who will never agree, you invest in building the life that proves your point without saying a word. This shift does not just protect your peace, it makes you unstoppable. Because the truth is, life will never be free of problems, critics, or unfair situations. But when you focus only on what you can control, your attitude, your actions, your growth, you stay calm in chaos. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like the captain of your own ship. And there is incredible freedom in that moment when you realize that while you cannot control the wind, you can always adjust your sails and keep moving toward your destination, no matter how rough the sea becomes. Grow inner confidence. There comes a point in life when you realize that the reason other people's words, judgments, and opinions hurt so deeply is because somewhere inside, you have not yet built unshakable confidence in who you are. When someone criticizes you and it breaks your spirit, it is often because a part of you secretly fears they might be right. When someone doubts your dreams and it fills you with anger, it is because you have not yet developed the inner belief strong enough to rise above their doubts. This is why growing inner confidence is not just about feeling good. It is about building a foundation so strong that no insult, no criticism, no rejection can shake it. But what is inner confidence really? It is not arrogance. It is not pretending to be perfect. And it is not walking around shouting about how great you are. True inner confidence is quiet, calm, and deeply rooted. It comes from knowing your value even when others cannot see it. From believing in your dreams even when no one else does. From trusting your journey even when the road feels long and uncertain. It is the difference between needing the world to clap for you and being able to keep moving even when the room is silent. Growing this kind of confidence begins with self-awareness. You have to spend time with yourself, understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, your passions, and your values. Because here is the truth, if you do not define who you are, the world will do it for you. And the world is not always kind. People will label you based on your mistakes, your failures, or their limited view of you. But when you truly know yourself, when you understand what you stand for, you no longer need everyone's approval to feel secure. Confidence also grows from keeping the promises you make to yourself. Every time you say you will do something, wake up early, finish that project, learn that skill, and you actually do it, you teach yourself that you can trust you. And the more you trust yourself, the less you care about whether others doubt you. That is why discipline and confidence are so connected. Discipline builds self-respect, and self-respect builds unshakable confidence. Another key to inner confidence is learning to see failure differently. Most people are terrified of failing because they tie their self-worth to success. When they fail, they feel worthless. But confident people see failure as feedback, as proof that they are trying, learning, growing. They know that a single setback does not define their value or their future. This mindset turns rejection into redirection, mistakes into lessons, and criticism into fuel. And perhaps most importantly, inner confidence grows when you stop comparing yourself to others. Nothing steals peace faster than constantly measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel. There will always be someone richer, smarter, more talented, more experienced. If your confidence depends on being better than others, you will spend your whole life chasing validation that never lasts. True confidence comes when you focus on being better than the person you were yesterday, when you measure success by your own growth, not by someone else's applause. Because here is the reality: people will always have opinions. Some will support you, others will doubt you, a few will try to tear you down. But when your confidence comes from within, from knowing your worth and staying true to your path, their voices lose their power. They become background noise while you keep walking forward with your head held high, knowing that nothing outside you can shake what you have built inside. Turn negativity into motivation. Every single one of us, at some point in life, has faced negativity. It comes in many forms: criticism from others, doubts from people you thought would support you, rejection when you gave your best, or even the harsh voice in your own head telling you that you are not good enough. Some people allow this negativity to crush them, to shrink their dreams until they no longer dare to try. But others, those who rise higher, those who keep going when the world seems against them, have learned a different secret. They use negativity as fuel instead of letting it become a chain. Here is the truth that many people never understand: negativity itself is powerless. The words, the doubts, the criticism on their own, they cannot stop you. What gives them power is how you respond. If you take every insult personally, if you replay every criticism in your mind until it paralyzes you, then the negativity wins because it drains your energy, your focus, your belief in yourself. But if you can take the same negativity and turn it into determination, if you can use it as proof that you must work harder, smarter, stronger, then the very thing meant to break you becomes the thing that builds you. Think about some of the greatest success stories you have heard. Behind every achievement, there were people who doubted, laughed, criticized, even rejected the dream before it became real. There were teachers who told students they would never succeed, bosses who told employees they were not good enough, family members who said dreams were too big, too unrealistic. But what separated those who gave up from those who rose higher was not talent alone. It was the ability to take negativity and turn it into fire. One way to do this is to change the meaning you give to criticism and rejection. When someone says you cannot do something, instead of hearing it as a prophecy, hear it as a challenge. Let it light a fire inside you that says, "I will not stop until I prove to myself that I can." Notice, it is not about proving them wrong. That is a trap, because your journey should never revolve around someone else's opinion. It is about proving to yourself what you are capable of, using their doubt as energy to keep going when things get hard. Another powerful shift is to use rejection as redirection. Life has a way of closing doors that were never meant for you. Sometimes when you are rejected, it is not because you are not good enough, but because there is a better path ahead, one you cannot see yet. Many people waste years being angry at the door that closed instead of moving forward to find the door that was waiting all along. When you use negativity as motivation, you stop seeing closed doors as insults and start seeing them as signposts pointing you toward the right path. And perhaps the most liberating truth is this: people often project their own fears onto you. When they say, "You can't do it," what they really mean is, "I can't imagine doing it." Their negativity is a reflection of their limits, not yours. So why carry their fears on your shoulders? Why let their doubts become your reality? Instead, let it remind you why you started, why your dream matters, why you cannot stop now. Because the best answer to negativity is not anger, not revenge, but success built on determination so strong that no criticism, no rejection, no doubt can slow you down. My friends, life will never run out of people who criticize, challenge, or misunderstand you. There will always be words that sting, moments that test your patience, and circumstances that push you to the edge. But the power to stay calm, to stay unshaken, to stay free from anger and bitterness, that power has always been in your hands. When you understand the root of your anger, you stop being a slave to your emotions. When you learn to accept people as they are, you free yourself from the prison of unrealistic expectations. When you shift your perspective, you begin to see problems as lessons and criticism as stepping stones. When you train emotional discipline, you stop handing your peace to anyone who tries to steal it. When you focus on what you can control, you take back your strength from a world that will always be unpredictable. When you grow inner confidence, you build a foundation so strong that no insult, no rejection, no failure can shake it. And when you learn to turn negativity into motivation, You take the very things meant to break you and use them to rise even higher. So, the next time someone tests your patience, remember this: they do not hold the keys to your peace. You do. Your mind, your emotions, your dreams, your future belong to you. Protect them, grow them, strengthen them. Because a life lived without anger and bitterness is not only calmer, it is wiser, stronger, and far more powerful than any life controlled by fleeting emotions.